Hi, welcome to Todd's Tips. I'm Todd Barsness, a full-time voiceover talent, and Todd's Tips is a feature of VO Marketing Pro. Now, if you'd like more information about VO Marketing Pro or anything else related to voiceover, just visit our Facebook page, website, or contact us via email. The links are located here. We always give the caveat, and here are the caveats. There's several of them. We always give the caveat, you have to do your business your way. My business is my business. Your business is none of my business. On the other hand, it's good to think about these things and to ponder them and not just blow them off quickly. I'm in my 13th year. We'll talk about some numbers. On this week's do's and don'ts or Todd's tips. We've been going through some do's and don'ts. And so one of the reasons I give my numbers is to not say you have to do things my way, but hopefully you give me at least your ear for a time being, for a short time during these Todd's tips, so that you're not just, well, that's how he does it. Yeah, you can kind of do it whatever you want. That's kind of true, but there are some business principles you just have to do. And that's what I try to make sure that these are supra business. In other words, they're bigger than just the voiceover business, and they kind of transcend the voiceover business, a lot of these tips that I give you. So just do some thinking about that with the caveats that you've seen on the screen in mind. And this is not rehearsed, but and it won't be a big deal for you, but I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit later in just a few minutes to talk about fishing.
Oh, because I'm a fisherman.
Because he's a big-time fisherman, and I'm a know-nothing when it comes to fishing. But there is some, connection. In fact, for VO Marketing Pro, our business for direct email marketing for people, voiceover people like yourself, we use that fishing analogy because it's a good analogy. And so in just a few moments, I'm going to talk with you about fishing. So hang on, I'm sure you'll do just fine. Today in my Todd's Tips, I'm going to talk about this. I do believe in abundance. I don't believe in scarcity when it comes to available voiceover work. I do believe in abundance. I don't believe in scarcity when it comes to available voiceover work. I try to keep my ears to the tracks when it comes to other people's podcasts, other voiceover people, YouTube channel, and what kind of the gurus and coaches are saying out there, the prognosticators of where the industry is going and different things like that. And I hear so many of the voiceover pros, so many experts, so many VO talent bemoaning the lack of voiceover work and scared or grumpy about low VO prices. And on one hand, I get it. I really do. I get it because if you're first starting and you're trying to roll that boulder up the hill of starting a business and starting a voiceover business, it can seem like everybody else is getting the jobs or there's just no jobs out there. And with the advent of AI, artificial intelligence voices, and they're stealing some low-level, low-paying jobs, some low-hanging fruit out there. With that and the advent of Fiverr and Upwork and some of these free platforms, it seems like the VO industry pay scale is starting to go down. And it probably is because of supply and demand. But then I think of myself and I say, Todd, you're on track this year to earn $300,000 in voiceover again, and that'll be the third year in a row. And last year I kind of tried not to because I put all my efforts toward your business and VO Marketing Pro, and I still made $319,000. And it's going to be the sixth year in a row that I've made $200,000 or more than 200.
Yeah, a little bit more.
$200,000 or more. So 3 years over 300,000 and 6 years total over 200,000. It's 7 years since I cracked
six figures.
6 figures.
Wow.
The first year I cracked 6 figures was 2017 at $137,000.
Wow.
And so I think to myself, okay, but what has been your experience? And just so you know, this was accomplished, and I know my business was established, but it was accomplished when a lot of voiceover talent in the last 3 years were going down because of the pandemic and now because of all of the economic things and the global unrest and things like that. My income has stayed basically the same than it has over the last 3 or 4 years.
And who knows if it would have gone up if you wouldn't have put a lot of your, it probably would have gone up.
It would have gone up because
you took the time off to work on helping me get my business started. And you've been a consultant. Once again, you don't get paid for anything you do for VO Marketing Pro, but you kind of consult. You are kind of an overseer that stays outside kind of to watch over certain things that especially Joe, John, and Drew do. Yeah. Obviously, I help out in some ways, but especially those guys. So anyway,
I didn't do it. No, that's perfectly.
I like to put that out there because you just don't get paid for those things.
And from June until December of 2021, I had all my direct email marketing efforts go toward VO Marketing Pro. All of the emails that my assistant Andy would have sent out on behalf of me, I had them because I wanted to slow down and I wanted VOMP, you guys from VOMP and other people, to be able to get as much exposure as possible to build our company. And that was my decision. That's not sour grapes. I'm really glad I did it because I needed to. But the point being is I still stayed over $300,000.
And once again, that's all voiceover.
Correct.
All voiceover.
No coaching, no VOMP money. It's all voiceover.
Yep. Behind the mic.
Yep, exactly.
And this podcast doesn't make any money either. Not that you guys need to know that, but it doesn't. So
we're okay if we eventually do, but that's not
that would
right
be nice.
Now what we're doing. Okay, just quickly before I get to the question. So we went to visit our friend, my mentor, Bill DeWeese, back in September.
Correct.
We went to visit him in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And that week I took Thursday afternoon all the way till Sunday, and I came home and my inbox was full of 24 projects. And it took me almost that full week because I get a lot of work during the week. And so it took me a long time to dig out. Well, we just went on a trip to a long vacation, if you will, a long weekend, Thursday afternoon
to Monday.
Till Tuesday morning, actually,
Tuesday
for me.
Morning, okay.
And I had 31 projects, Fiverr, Voices.com, and direct email
waiting
marketing,
for you.
Waiting for me on Tuesday morning. And yesterday, by the end of the day, I was dug out completely. Woo. Because again, I get multiple projects a day. And when you're busy and you've pushed that boulder up, a lot of times it starts to come down on top of you like a snowball and you start to go, and so it goes back to the abundance and scarcity mindset. And that's the only reason I bring it up. It's not to wave it in anybody's face. It's just to encourage you. So the question is this. Typically when you fish for, I'll call them big game fishing, because I don't know what to call it. When you go big game hunting, you're going for huge elk and stuff like that, or lions, tigers, bears, those types of things. That's what you think about. Yeah, right. But when you think about big game fishing, I don't know what to call that, but when you go for trophy fish, maybe that's the thing.
Yep.
And so you
fishing.
go out to the ocean. A lot of times, don't you chum the water, and don't you have to have special Baits, fishing
rigs.
bait and rigs and equipment, and you got to get out there in a yacht or a big boat. Is that true?
Charter boat. Yeah, I'm sure that's true. I've never done that. I'd like to though. Yeah. So if anybody wants to sponsor my trip, charter fishing, that'd be great.
Yeah, but isn't there also the fact that, like you can go in a little pond and there's little panfish that sometimes you don't even have to bait your hook. You just kids do that all the time. And I've heard stories, I haven't done it, but I've heard stories that you take your kids to these, put a little worm on there, and boom, they're just reeling them in left and right as fast as you can get it out there, because they're not as selective, those fish, where the other big fish, you got to go where they're at, you got to have gear, and they're selective. Is that true? Is that basically a true statement?
Yeah, I would say so.
Well, this is my thought then, because I thought that was true because of what you've talked about. I thought about this. Here's direct email marketing math in my mind, using the fishing analogy. Fishing a lot, that is getting it out there and putting it in a lot of ponds and streams and oceans and whatever, getting your poles,
getting your lines.
Yep, getting as many as you can out there. marketing, direct email marketing especially. Fishing a lot plus fishing a long time. In other words, persevering and patience and persistence.
Not only amount, but longevity. That's what you're saying.
Lots and a long time plus, and this was my point about the fishing thing, non-finicky fishing. If you're a finicky fisher, in other words, if you're going out and trying to get the big game fish, in other words, you're trying to swim in the deep end right away, and maybe you're not prepared for that. Maybe your demos aren't pro yet, or maybe you don't have as much skill or whatever. You haven't pushed the boulder up the hill, and you're being finicky about the prices you're willing to work for. That's one of the things I talked with you about. You've got to fish a lot, you've got to fish a long time, and you can't be finicky. Now you can, because it's your business if you want.
Sure.
Maybe this is a little bit of tough love right now, but but then honestly, don't complain about the fact that you're not hooking fish, because when I was first starting, I was doing pan fishing. I was trying to get trying to get jobs. So I get my skill set up, and I could pay the bills. And so I went for $30 jobs and $50 jobs and $75 jobs, and I just filled up my day, and I was just trying to make ends meet. I went from $25 a day to $50 a day to $100 a day. Now I'm at $1,300 a day. I'm going for the big fish, but I'm still not that much of a finicky fisherman. I still do that. So remember the fishing analogy, and remember the direct email marketing math. Fish a lot, fish a long time, and don't be a finicky fisher if you want to be successful.
Going off of that, I didn't know you were going to talk about that, but I remember when I think I was 8 or 9 years old, a buddy of mine had us over to go fishing. And I remember his dad, I was fishing, and his dad said, man, he said, you're never going to catch a fish because your line is out of the water more than it is in the water. And I was always pulling it out and, overthinking it. And so I was like, I got to change bait, or I got to, whatever it was. And that just reminded me of that story. My bait was out of the water more. And it's like, well, you're not going to catch fish when you're constantly taking your line out of the water.
Your point, what I heard you say was, don't overthink it. And I've talked with you guys a lot about this, is get a business plan that works and work it. And that's what we talk about a lot is don't panic. You're doing the right things. Maybe you have to evaluate here and there. Maybe you're not doing this or you're not doing that. But if you've got a good plan and it's working, then just keep working it. Don't panic. Don't keep your poles out of the water, checking your bait all the time, and your bobber and different things like that. That's good. So that's why, just this last thing, I believe in abundance and not scarcity. There's tons of work out there. If you fish a lot, you fish for a long time, and you're not a finicky fisher. But keep those 3 things in mind. And then don't bellyache if you don't get the fish. If you're saying, well, I don't know, I don't open my mic, for anything less than $250. That's your business. If you want to do that, fine. But then don't complain if you don't get work. That's my point. Because I don't do that. And that's why I make over $300,000 a year. Thanks a lot for joining me for Todd's Tips. And if you'd like more information about VO Marketing Pro or anything else related to VO, the links are listed here.